Handing the 007 franchise to the team that made Hitman sounded awesome from the jump, but First Light managed to exceed all expectations. Here to listen to me fanboy about it for the next 11 minutes, please welcome CEO of IO Interactive and game director on 007 First Light, Hakan Abrak. Welcome back to IGN Live, and thank you for making probably my game of the year so far.
Oh, wow. That sounds really great. Thank you so much. I'm happy to be here.
Last year you came out, you showed off the beginning of the game, and it looked, it looked like kind of a Hitman team doing Bond, a little more action-centric. Having played the game, it is really just a fantastic blend of spy stuff, Hitman stuff, and then also just the explosive, over-the-top things we come to expect from all the Bond mythology. And it's a hit. It's the fastest-selling game in your studio's almost 30-year history. How was the reception internally when that happened?
Oh, that was amazing. I mean, just before the embargo was lifted for the reviews, I had this town hall talk in front of everyone, and I was like, it's not about what they say, whether we're worthy and whether we've done something great, and we know we've done something great. Just in case things were, it's going to be bad reviews, right? But then the review started, and it was just like 100, 95, and then we all started hugging and crying. So that was a special moment, like fruits of 7 years of journey, right?
That is, yeah, that's got to be pretty intense after so long in development. Normally, when a developer comes through, about 20 minutes after their game comes out, it's kind of a victory lap thing, but you guys came out with a look at what's ahead, and you have a ton of stuff planned over the next year. You give a look at the roadmap. You've got more Lenny Kravitz, you've got more Bavma. Can you give us a little bit of an oversight on what you have planned and what people can expect?
Yeah, I mean, I think a lot of our fans and community know from Hitman, World Assassination that, the launch of these games for us is really only the beginning, so the story and the campaign, but then it goes on with more experiences. We have something called Taxim, where you'll have new gadgets and new upgrades and new challenges and new experiences, really. And, maybe within a short amount of time, you'll see Bond on a motocross motorcycle, maybe, right, and stuff like that. And then we have bigger missions, like Vauma is returning because we have some unfinished business with him, and this will go on. Like with Hitman, we'll just keep on adding to the experience and just expanding the world.
That's, I think, something that I adore so much about Hitman, and really what makes World of Assassination such a resilient game. You guys put out the first one, 10 years ago, and then you've been sort of just iterating on it, adding to it since. And I jumped onto it with 3, and you guys basically remade the first 2 and made it all feel like one cohesive, massive game, and it's kind of hard to tell that those were originally separate pieces. It really is one big World of Assassination. Do you see that iterative approach kind of carrying over to what you're doing with Bond as well, to the point, you've got like a New Game Plus in there, a little bit different because of how the game is structured, but do you see it kind of a thing where people are going to be replaying it almost in a different way?
Absolutely. I think we have some of the things we talked about, and there's a lot of things we haven't talked about yet, but everything we do, it's very important that it's coherent and connected. And some of the new features we introduce, we make sure that the levels and missions you played are compatible with that, and new functionality will be compatible with new gadgets you get in the future. So there's going to be a ton of replayability opportunities, just like we did with Hitman.
Now, can you give a little bit of insight in sort of how large of a expansion this new story stuff is going to be?
Well, it's going to be a proper mission. It's going to be new acting performance and new cinematics as well, right? So there's different kind of content. Some of them, as I said, would be the Valhalla Aston Martin. You kind of get to wreck a room with that, but then there's a mission where you need to, you get to drive it outside. And but this one is really a story mission. So I'm not going to go into details yet and how much and how big, but it's going to be a proper cool mission.
That's wonderful to hear. You're adding some new gadgets. Can you allude to what the new glasses do?
Well, we'll see that, but there, you'll get some information,
okay.
And it will be, I wouldn't say detective in the cell, but you'll get more information through that for being able to solve some of the objectives in the missions.
Cool. It's interesting because you guys, and I know what to expect in terms of the espionage sort of puzzly approach of some of the larger sort of sandbox areas from what you've done with Hitman. But Bond has the addition of like more arcadey stuff too. You've got some tax sim stuff that's just really kind of, again, you're giving us an Aston Martin and letting us tear around in it. How do you approach that differently in terms of game design? Like, is it a different mentality when you're making something that's more like arcadey stuff? We use that term. It is over the top. It's silly. It's kind of more, for lack of a better word, more fun, less tactical. What's the philosophy there when you make?
Well, I mean, the philosophy was to make the ultimate Bond experience. Right, that was the North Star from the get-go, to try to have the 360 experience on a Bond experience. I think and that entails the explosive set pieces that I call it the arcade action. So we needed to like up the range combat, the melee combat, and the seamless transition between that. The gadgets obviously a huge part of the core pillars of having a Bond experience. The driving and all that, but also putting a bit part of our DNA into this experience to deliver something that maybe prior Bond games haven't done before, because it's really, really cool with fisticuffs and shooting and explosions and driving, but it's also very cool to explore the charm and suave ways of Bond all the way into the controller, into the mechanics, and how to overcome some of those challenges with your wits rather than your fists. And that's the kind of 360 experience that we went for, and I think the width of the gameplay and all the opportunities you have to solve these obstacles in so many different ways, it's, I think, what we're really, really proud of getting together.
There's so much Bond mythology to pull from. There's obviously, there's an entire library of books. There's all the different movies. There are all the different ways they've been presented, and you guys really did a good job of carving out a unique Bond. Like I found this version of Bond is he's really earnest. He's still got he's still kind of a jerk because he's Bond. And you allude to that. He's got a very punchable face, as some would say, and it does get punched a bit. It was kind of refreshing following Daniel Craig's very just world weary and kind of beaten down one. How did you find that sweet spot? How did you zero in on that particular Bond and really just defining that character? How'd you find that?
I mean, it was very important to make a becoming story. It was very important for gamers to kind of embrace him as their own and be introduced to this world of espionage together with him. So it was very important that he wasn't on top of his game and got everything figured out, right? But when that is said, he's also not naive. He's also not he has what it takes to be 00, right? And at the end of the story now, a lot of people played it. You become 00, and you're not that yet, right? So he has the nucleus. He has the core of the man that we know from the franchise that he'll become that. And we thought it was very, very exciting to have somebody who has a bit of an innocence and loses some of that when he's being introduced to the world of espionage. And there's loss, there's fun and kicks, but there's also loss in there, right? So we wanted to have really an adventure where we take this trip with him to become what he ends becoming at the end, and hopefully in the future with new adventures as well.
I love it. Now there's plenty more First Light on the way. There's a lot to do in the game itself. If anyone hasn't played it, just go play it. It's really good, and it's going to get even better. Aside from all that, if you had to recommend one piece of Bond media that people go home and check out to supplement First Light, any movie, any book, which would you suggest?
My favorite is Casino Royale. I think that was a different kind of becoming story, you could say. I love that movie. Love many of the movies, but that one is quite special for me.
It is an all-timer. Hakan, thank you so much for coming by, and again, congratulations on First Light's success. I'm dying to go hang out with Lenny Kravitz some more. 007 First Light is available now on PlayStation 5, Xbox Series. Yeah, give it up for Bond and IO Interactive. It's available now on PC, PS5, Xbox Series, and it's coming to Nintendo Switch later this year. If you're still on the fence, go check out IGN's full review. There's more IGN Live still to come, so stick around.